Hey there puzzlers, my name is FLEB, and today we're going to be continuing our solve of the 2x2x4 Rubik's Cuboid. What we did last time is we were able to solve the center 2x2x2, and the idea that I had was that we'd solve the inner part and then the outer part. So let's see if that works out. So first, we should figure out whether white or yellows can be going on the top or the bottom. We have a red, green, and a white piece here. It looks like if we turn it to be on this corner, it doesn't match up, so it probably goes on the other side. Let's see if that's the case. We're going to have to be very careful to keep these middle layers solved. So let's track the piece carefully here. Twisting it down, away, and then twisting that back up again so the middle's still together. And it's going to fit right there. Okay. So this side's going to be white, and this side's going to be yellow. Let's try to solve the whole white side first. So we need a green, orange, and white piece. It's here. It needs to go here. So let's bring it down, bring it over to that spot, and then bring it into place. Okay, we've got 2 of the 4 pieces. The other 2 happen to be together. So all we need to do is turn, move them into place, and then turn it around. And look at that. We've got that whole layer solved. The middle is still together, so all we have to do is solve the last layer. Now what's interesting about this is that the orientation's all solved. In the last video I explained why I think that is. And just the positions of the cubes are out of place. So we're going to have to find a way to switch around different positions here. If we think about this one being in place, we have an odd number of, I guess they're corners, out of position. So we should be able to create an algorithm to solve this. And the way that I'm going to do it is what I did with the original Rubik's Cube video. So what I'll do is I'll switch these two, so the orange and blue will be here, and then it will switch the green and orange and the blue and orange. If that's done correctly, we should cycle around the corners and everything should be solved. So let's get a sheet of paper. The tricky part about this compared to our normal Rubik's Cube is that I'm only going to be able to make shape-preserving moves. If I don't make just shape-preserving moves, I'm not sure if the method I outlined before is going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to switch these 2 pieces, just making moves like this, and turning the bottom and top layers. We're also going to try to not move this piece, and not move that piece. We just want these 2 to switch. If I think about it, I'm going to call this R prime. That's counterclockwise. Now I'd like to separate these 2 pieces so that I can deal with one at a time. So I'm going to call this B prime R. Now the orange and blue is here, but we need to get this piece also into that position. So I'm going to try B, R prime, and what I'm trying to do is line this piece up so that the pieces can be switched around. If I do a B prime, R prime, are these now switched around? I believe they are. So if I do another B prime to move them out of the way, and R to bring it down, a B, then a B, so B twice, and then an R, they've now switched positions. So as long as I can undo those moves, this whole thing should be solved. What I'm going to do is give this a twist. Now what those previous moves did is they worked so that these two cubes switched, but these two actually stayed the same. So by doing this rotation and undoing the moves, everything on the bottom 3 layers should go back to its original place, and these two should switch. If we've done this right, that means the cube will be solved. So I'm just going to write down this sequence backwards now. Okay, so if I execute those moves right now, I think that should solve this cuboid. R prime, B prime, B prime, R prime, B, R, B, R, B, R prime, B prime, R. Something got messed up. What has happened? Did I accidentally B when I should have B primed somewhere? This is looking pretty good. I think I must have written down this sequence wrong somewhere. I'll have to go check the tape and see where, but that should have worked. So we're very close to the solution here. Let's see if we can just get there. If I turn this... Because what I want to do here is I want to line up these two white pieces together. But maybe on the other side. Yeah. And that has it solved. So that was almost a disaster, but we were able to solve it in the end. I'm going to go back and check where exactly on the tape I wrote down this sequence wrong. If we go back and look at the tape, there's a point where I've written down B and said B, but actually do a B prime move, right here. And this shows you just how careful you have to be when making your own algorithms. I only made one mistake, and luckily it was towards the end of the solve. If that had been earlier in that sequence, I probably would have had to start this whole section over again. So what have we learned from this puzzle? Well, I think we've learned a couple different things. First, if you have a puzzle with shapeshifts like this, and pieces aren't necessarily going to move out of their positions, you can solve an inner puzzle and then an outer puzzle. What I did is I solved the inner 2x2, and then looked at the other 2 layers, the top and the bottom layer. One of those 2 was solved intuitively, and for the other one, I made a custom algorithm that allowed us to solve it. I think it's important to note that we were able to do that even with shape-preserving moves like this, that didn't involve making the puzzle go into a crazy shape. I have a feeling we're going to be using that in puzzles to come. Next time, we'll start on the 4x4x4 Rubik's Cube. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and as always, happy puzzling!